now that Jim Ratcliffe, his 25% share of Man United Football Club is near to completion, I'm going to give you 3 things that Jim Ratcliffe should do once he officially takes over at Man United Football Club. So we'll start with number 3, and it's, we've already got rid of John Murtagh, get rid of Matt Judge, get rid of Richard Arnold, get rid of everybody that was being associated with Man United Football Club for the past 10 years, because now it's got virtually go past next year. It'll be 11 years when we last won the league. It's currently, thus far, already 10, and that's getting longer and longer and longer. Because post-Alex-Ferguson, we've become amateurish in the transfer market. That's not what we used to be. And it's funny, isn't it? The far toppers were calling on, we need big signings, we need this, we need that. And then we bought Valcao in that first proper window, really. I'm not going to scratch off Moisey, because that doesn't count in my eyes. Valcao and Di Maria. And guess what? We didn't win anything. And our fans were always complaining about we need to buy signature players. And Sir Alex Ferguson said once upon a time in a press conference that when Man United will invest when the time comes, because there was no value in the market. And I think he wanted David Villa, but he wanted to stay in Spain. And now, years later, foreign players from abroad are happy to come into the Premier League. And more often than not, they tend to adapt. But it hasn't resulted in a league title, is it? Spending on signature players. You far toppers weren't saying anything at the time, were you? You were happy. You weren't throwing your toys out of the pram like a petulant child. You wanted those signings. And it hasn't resulted in a league title post-Alex Ferguson. So we've got to get rid of those people above. And I remember a couple of years ago now, Sir Alex Ferguson apparently recommended Steve Walsh, and Ed Wood would say, no, that's not happening. And same Steve Walsh, by the way, we dodged a bullet there, to be fair. Because when he went to Everton, he bought a plethora of number 10s, and Everton was stagnated. He left his post a year later. So just because he did good at Leicester doesn't mean he was going to do good at Everton, which it turned out not to be the case, that he did a good job. You know? So it doesn't always work. As Sir Alex Ferguson once said, people think there's a better world somewhere else. It doesn't always work. And I was the only Man United fan you'll find that wanted Radcliffe. Bring me Radcliffe. I didn't want Qatar taking over the football club. Especially what's going on in the Middle East at the moment. In Israel. And what's happening to them and the Jewish people. Also obviously on the streets of Britain as well. So we have dodged a bullet in terms of getting the Saudis. I didn't want them sort of my football club. Not for me. And I'm the only one brave enough to put a head above the parapet and say that. Because I have a moral compass, you see. And I'm not a hypocrite. You can't say the same thing about the far Torres, can you? They've got hypocritical views all over the place. They would sell their grandma down the river to make a couple of quid. Their first word wasn't money, it was money, money. That was their first word. All they cared about was filling their own pockets. Not what Man United should be doing. Investing in the future and investing for the greater good. Number 2. Sack that Dutch fraud. I want him to sod off back to Dutchland with his tail between his legs. Jim Ratcliffe must, in my view, get rid of Ten Hag. He's not worthy of being associated as a Man United manager. And it's pretty ironic, isn't it, that the player that Ten Hag wanted to sell, McTominay, saved his job. Because if McTominay didn't score those 2 goals, he would have been out of the job. He would have been on Monday morning in the job centre, in the Dole office queue, looking for a new job. Now, I was celebrating when McTominay scored those 2 goals, only because it was Scott McTominay, by the way. And when new owners or potential investors do get their feet under the table, they want to change the structure and they want to change the manager. So I hope that Jim Ratcliffe listens to this video, watches this video, and here's my plea. Here's my plea. And get rid of him. Because we're going to crash out of the Champions League. We've got so many games in December, it's frightening in that fixture list. And I don't think he'll come out of that unscathed. I think he'll be gone soon. But Jim Ratcliffe needs to make that decision for me before those games, so we can pick up points when a new manager comes in, and then we can go from there. New manager syndrome, that's what we need. So that's second. The first and the most important point of this video: stop allowing the far top reds on YouTube access to interviews with players. Stop the access of them going to press conferences and asking questions. Because all they do is they brainwash the younger population whose brains haven't developed and they don't know any better, and they want to find some wisdom and solace, but they get brainwashed by these far top reds. And that's what they do. They hounded out Fellaini, saying he was a problem at Man United Football Club. And how many league titles have we won post Alex Ferguson? Oh yeah, 0. How many trophies, how many have we won? League titles since Fellaini's gone? Oh yeah, 0. Because you lot are the problem in this fan base. And you know you are. You don't speak for me. I speak for myself. Always have, and I always will. You won't control me. You won't be playing those games with me. I'm not having that. You won't be able to kidder. Because I'm not easily led astray, you see. I tell the truth. And the truth is spoken on this channel. Others say something conveniently so they don't get into trouble. They won't say they want Radcliffe because they'll lose views, they'll lose subscribers, they won't get their likes on YouTube on their videos. That's the only reason they're doing it. Jim Ratcliffe is the guy for me, and he needs to stop this far top reds. And how am I going to put this? The reason certain sections of the Man United fan base wanted Saudis is because they have the same culture as them. I.e., they can twist them around the little finger and they can get freebies. That's what a certain portion of the Man United fan base want the Saudis. Because they don't have a moral compass. I do. And I'll always stick to my guns. And that's what everybody should do. So I need to stop these YouTube far top reds going into press conferences. It shouldn't happen. It's a disgrace that they're allowed in there. Now, I have no aspirations to go in there. But they shouldn't, because it's manipulating the situation and it's manipulating the fan base. And that's unfair. And I'm not having that. So there you go. There's my 3 things that Ratcliffe needs to do once he does get his feet under the table and officially gets 25% of the football. Give me your views below, if you wish, to what things that you think Jim Ratcliffe should do when he takes charge.